And welcome everybody to our last session for this current forest bathing class of 2026. Never fear, if you are a student here of Inner Harmony Forest Therapy, you're invited back to future classes as well. And sometimes we just have one gatherings in the middle just to share information with each other. So don't feel like this is the end. In fact, I look at the fact that we had this new moon this past weekend as a way to honor that it's a new beginning for everybody here. So whether you are a seedling, a sprout, or an oak, there's always new growth and new things that can happen. Today is kind of free form. There was no reading assignment for today. It's really just a time to gather and share where you're at, what questions you've had. I do want to talk a little bit about stepping into being the practitioner, that the professional aspect, not your homework, not the structure of things, but as you step into it. And all along, we've had sharings from people about this. And it's great when we have that lateral learning, right? It's great when we share with each other about what worked, about what didn't work, because sometimes learning what doesn't work is just as important about what does work. I I'm excited about what each of you are going to be doing because I think that there is so much need for people to connect again with nature. And you are going to be the people that take them there, that reintroduce them, that allow them to see that it's not just a resource to be used and abused, right? That it is essential that we start thinking about the trees and the plants and the water and the air of our planet as not a resource, but as our family, as something that allows us all to thrive and survive. I get discouraged when I read things about how our public parks are being opened up for resources now. I feel that even though we've always, everybody here I know has always been like, well, no, we can't do that. I think it's going to come the time where we all need to stand up and really voice it to our clients, encourage our clients to also voice it so that we can protect things before they're gone. So that's my little soapbox speech. I do have one other little soapbox speech before I turn it over to you all to ask questions and share what you're going to share. Last time, I think we talked about data centers, right? And how data centers were going in a lot of places. And I've shared some resources on our page that you can share with your friends, your clients, um, just to be aware. There's so much misinformation out there in order to encourage communities to welcome in a data center, and the whole truth isn't being told, as you can guess. But we're going to switch off from data centers, right? We're going to say maybe we've got it done. I don't know. We're going to keep working on that. But I want to switch to a different topic that you could also get passionate about. And this one is about dirt, the power of soil. And there's a couple great documentaries that are, I think, on Netflix, and one is called Common Ground, and the other one I think is called Kiss the Ground or Kiss the Earth. Which one is it, Ruth? Kiss the Ground? Okay. Um, Both of them talk about the importance of soil. And we just think of it as dirt, right? It's just the dirt beneath our feet. But truthfully, the health of our whole planet, of us, of the plants, of the animals, really relies on the soil being a living thing and not a dead thing. And we don't think of the soil as living, but truly, there are so many living organisms that are essential um, to life on this planet that happen within the soil. Some of it is when we think of when we've read our books about trees and how the trees can communicate with each other through the mitochondrial network that runs through the soil, like the little fungi networks that run through there. But there's so many other beneficial, I'll probably use the wrong term, bacteria organisms that are within the soil that help plants thrive. And so you might be thinking, well, that's so what? We're going to conserve soil? Yes, we need to. Because what's happened here in the United States and in many places around the world is that our industrialized agricultural system depends on the use of big machines that treat large tracts of land in a way that the land was never meant to be treated. One way is through tilling, right? Have you ever seen a farmer till up their fields in the spring getting ready to plant? And it's, like if you ever had a tiller in your garden, right, to chew up the earth so that it would put the weeds underneath and you could plant your things. Well, the problem with this is every time we till the soil, all those little mitochondria, all of those little networks that were built there get chewed up and destroyed. There's nothing there that's holding the soil together until something new grows. Well, the problem is sometimes there's a lack of time between the time something is tilled and the time something starts to grow, which means as the wind blows, it blows the topsoil away. As it rains, it washes the topsoil away. And the topsoil is where all of these juicy nutrients are for everything that grows. And when it's gone, it's gone. It takes decades and decades to rebuild that essential dirt that lives on the top of the rock or the other things that make up our earth. So these two documentaries will talk about what's called regenerative farming. And it's a practice of not tilling up the earth, but using what's called no-till drills that just poke the seeds down into the ground to grow without breaking up all the mitochondria. It allows the soil to remain intact, but it also gets back to how farming used to be done. It didn't used to be that all the animals were in huge cattle yards somewhere fed hay that had to be grown somewhere else. It's about reintroducing animals back into the farming area and having pastures that are moved around so that each area gets to be fertilized by the animals, gets to have um, the animals fed on natural grass, but then also then used for planting because after it's been fertilized, it's ready again. So I probably did a really poor disservice to describing why we would want to support this. But the biggest reason is when we farm better, it pulls more carbon out of the atmosphere. It puts it down into the earth. And so they've looked at it that if the smaller farms that are out there switch to regenerative farming, not only would the farmers make more money, but that we would have a huge impact on the amount of greenhouse gases. So that's my inspirational speech to watch one of those documentaries. Common Ground is the newest one. And it's, again, something you might want to share with people because you might think, well, they're not farmers. What do they care? They care because we all buy food. And we should look at how we could purchase um, food that supports the regenerative farms as opposed to the big agricultural farms. There are a couple apps, and I should have written them down. Maybe Ruth, do you know what those apps are that people can check I will find the apps and share them with you gals because they're apps that you can download on your phone and look up any product, and it will tell you if they buy their produce from a regenerative farm versus just any farm that's using Roundup GMO. And that you might even know what that app is. Do you know what that is? No. Okay. Well, then you'll all be happy to get it.
There is a fun app. It's called Buycott,
Okay.
Buycott, and it has campaigns, and you pick the campaign that you're passionate about. So it's like if animals are being tested, like if the company tests animals for their products, and you pick that campaign, if you scan a product, the with the app, it'll
Hmm.
tell you if that company is testing with animals. And there's like literally thousands of campaigns. So you can pick whatever companies that support generative farm. You can like it's a way of getting to that information.
Yes. Yes.
Um, but it's called Buycott. So there's literally thousands of different things that you can pick from, and then it helps you purchase things that you don't want to be sending money to companies that are hurting beagles. So,
Correct.
you know,
Exactly.
you can stop, and you're not aware. I mean, the companies don't tell you, hey, yeah,
Oh,
we're
no.
still doing animal testing.
No.
So, you
Thank
know,
you. That's a great one. So, before I turn it over to you guys, I just want to remind you about how you get your certification, right? And in one of the earlier website pages, there's this list, this checklist from it's fuzzy, but it's called the graduation requirements, and it's just something that as you're going through all the different home, it's one of those things that says, did you watch that video? Did you listen to this? But and then did you do these different experiences? Um, so that will help you go through and know that you've got everything
Hi,
accomplished.
you found your phone. Okay, I'm in a meeting, so I'll.
So, um, what you want to make sure is that as you do your experiences, you send them to me. I love reading them. And I'll give you a little feedback on them or just say, oh, I love that A plus plus plus. Um, so that way I know that you're going through and having these experiences and how it goes whenever you're taking other people. So, Dee, you have been working diligently on doing your requirements because I know you kind of have you had a deadline that you wanted to get things done by. And so I know you can't stay for the whole meeting today, but do you want to share where you're at with things or any more experiences you've had?
Well, I think I shared with you my unexpected visit from my great granddaughter, who I know it doesn't count as really quote unquote forest therapy, but I just had the most magical time with her
I
because
think share about it because even though it was an impromptu visit, I think it could give people ideas about how they could create a forest bathing experience for parents and kids
okay,
that would be magical. So go
okay,
ahead.
okay. So a couple of years ago, I had to have some huge maple trees taken down, which broke my heart. So I decided I wanted to do something special with them, and I left the trees, had them leave the tree stumps, and I made fairy houses out of all of them. So I have two or three fairy houses in my backyard that actually used pallets to make the fairy houses. So the other day, my great granddaughter, who's 4, came over because she knows fairies live here and she wanted to see the fairies. So I told her before we go out to see the fairies, we have to make a fairy stick. So I had her get a stick that she found in the yard that was special. And I had some yarn and some ribbon, and we just wrapped yarn and ribbon around it. And we found an acorn that she liked, or a pine cone that she liked. So we tied that onto it, and that became her fairy stick. And off we went to my backyard to look for fairy sticks. Of course, the first fairy house has a door on it. I told her if she knocked very quietly, the fairies might answer, but they didn't. And I told her if they were sleeping or it was a very windy day, they could be flying or stuck in a tree. And she was very quiet. And she said, okay. And I have a gate in my back, like a It's really like just a metal piece of gate. So we went back there because that's the gate where they have to go through to the magic enchanted fairyland. She sat, now imagine being 4 years old. I couldn't sit this still, right? She sat on the stump and was very quiet, waiting for the fairies, listening to the wind, wanting to know if they were flying up there. And I said, yes, the wind helps them fly. And then she said, well, could now we go lay in the grass and just watch the clouds and see what they are? I have to tell you, I still get very emotional about it because it was so spontaneous. She has not put that fairy stick down now since she left my house. She's driving her mom crazy, my granddaughter, to come back and look for the fairies again. So it was just a very, very magical time.
I love how emotional you are about it. And even though, was it our traditional one of telling people to leave their cell phones behind? But it had those elements, right? As you, um, as you were out there greeting the fairies, knocking on the door, right? It's like our saying hello to nature and will you welcome me in? And you had your gate that you walked through, and then sitting there watching for fairies. Well, that's got all of our senses attuned to nature and
Right.
listening to the wind. Do I hear them? Um, so, and then laying there watching the clouds, totally earthing, right? When we have kids in session, it's never going to be like with adults where you can expect them to spend like 15 minutes hugging a tree, right? It's not going to be, but it accomplished working with creating the fairy stick out of some natural things and fun things, and she's holding on to that as she's doing her session. It was absolutely beautiful, Dee. And we'll give your granddaughter credit for creating it, maybe. I don't know.
It was just so magical.
So, it could be you design more forest bathing. I would always want the parents to be a part of it,
Mhm.
right? Just for a lot of reasons,
Oh, yeah.
right? But I think they would also love stepping into that magical world, right? Of using their imagination, seeing the world through their child's eyes. Thank you for sharing that, Dee.
No, thank you for letting me. It's magical.
Uh, so Tina, I know you've been doing some other forest therapy. I would love to hear about it. I'd love to hear what your experiences were like, and because I like to learn things too. So share.
Sure, I'd love to. So hi everybody. I went to oh gosh, uh, in Pittsburgh at the on Beechwood Boulevard, the Environmental Center. I don't know if I can't think. Oh, at Frick Park. Thank you.
Mhm,
Anyhow, so I went to Frick Park. They did a session on forest bathing. I met Kelly there, which
mhm,
was great because Kelly and I have seen one another on Zoom, but we've never met. And so that was pretty cool. We were like these BFFs that showed up at this session together, and it was good. I mean, it was good. Anytime I go into the woods, I'm good. So
mhm.
uh, it was not as magical, to use your words, LuAnn, as as what you're teaching us, which I, of course, love. And so it was a little watered down in the magic area, of course.
Mhm.
And but it was good nevertheless. And everybody that was there was very nice, and it followed the same methodology that you're teaching in terms of, the invitations that we do,
Mhm.
and then the sharing in the circles. And so it was a very eclectic group at Frick, and I enjoyed it. Like, I'll go back. Like, I thought it was cool and it was fun, and I just want to support it.
Mhm.
Um, the other thing was I met. Well, I was in a coffee shop, a couple days after that. And there was this flyer of this woman that was promoting force therapy in a park really near me, which is a park that I don't know that well. I mean, my kids ran cross country there. So I remember being there as a parent, but I always thought it was beautiful. And so she was doing, she's doing it all summer
Mhm.
at this park. And she was interesting. She was 14 years a forest ranger and a Reiki practitioner. So, she had the combination of being a like a true naturalist and then integrating the energy and the consciousness from her Reiki practice. And so that got me a little bit more magic, which I liked.
And was
Still
it
not
just you? Was it
much
just a
magic.
one-on-one session?
Actually, there was one other woman.
Okay.
So yeah, at Frick Park there were probably seven of us,
Mhm.
maybe, and then there were three of us, including the practitioner. So it was really good. I mean, and it was totally raining. At first, I thought, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to go. It's really cold." But I committed. I paid my money, and I went. And it was fabulous. It
Mhm.
was it was just a different experience being in the rain. So again, more magical than Frick Park, which I totally liked.
Mhm.
And it was really interesting. I'm looking for ways to improve people's health.
Mhm.
And that's what drew me to this.
Mhm.
And full disclosure, I know I told LuAnn I'm working on my dissertation, and this is my topic. So I'm just diving in to learn everything I possibly can. And I'm looking for a group, which I always want to improve my own health. So I'm looking at, I'll probably do women over 60, does it improve mood and reduce stress and all those things? But it was so interesting from a compassion perspective. The other woman that was with me in the last forest therapy session, she was so sad and there was so much going on in her life. And the last invitation we did, she told us we could go wherever we wanted. And she walks over to this dead tree and she's there for like 15 minutes. And then of course we come back together and we're sharing, and she was just, really sharing about how even in a dead tree, there's nothing dead. And that she felt dead, but yet there was still so much to give. And that's what she saw the tree doing. And I was just like, oh, wow, that was intense. That was intense. So again, I was just like, okay, wh- I'm continuing to learn. I'm going to keep doing these sessions.
Mhm.
I'm going to go out to the botanical gardens in Pittsburgh. There's a guy out there that does sessions. Kelly said she would go with me. I'll probably go back to the woman that I just shared that went to a park near me.
Mhm.
Um, I'm going to start working through my homework and start putting together my own,
Yes.
what did I like? What feels right for me?
Mhm.
At the end of the day, I don't know whether I'll lead the session for the research that I do, or I'll ask somebody else to do it and then just facilitate and manage it because I can get so if I was leading something and I needed something to be done or facilitated, I wouldn't want to leave my presence from somebody. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I'm thinking through that stuff too. And
Mhm.
anyhow, that's kind of a long-winded answer, LuAnn, to
No,
where I've been and what I've been doing.
I love that because while I have been at other people's forest bathing sessions many years ago, I haven't been to anybody else's recently. So I was just curious as to what the local ones are doing. And are mine a bit more based on magic? Perhaps, okay? But that's because I do think the world is filled with that. And I do think that it is empowering for people to know that there's more than what our physical senses see, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
so, and it's something you responded to, and I will say, even inviting people to use their imagination steps them out of their worries. And even this woman who was so sad at that session, spending time at the dead tree, she got the information she needed. She got the
Mhm.
message, right? So people find what they need. Sometimes there will be those sessions that are very not magical, right? And I've led ones that are mm, more more approaching it from a health standard of why I want them to do this particular thing. But I'm always inviting them to use their imagination, right? And always inviting them to fully engage their senses. So you can always turn up the volume on the magic and turn it down. But I figure if I'm offering the things that I would like to do, I will attract the people who also like to do that. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see for your project, Tina, um, how you want that forest bathing session to be designed, even if you don't lead it. And heck, Annette's here. Annette's not far away. She's down in Butler County area-ish. That's not far, right? And so, you might even use your buddies here of her and Kelly, and maybe you would craft something based on the invitations that you feel would work best for the target population you're going to use for your dissertation.
Right, right, right. I hear you. And that would be great too.
Hmm.
And it's interesting too. My program is very holistic, and I also have been all my life. So when I talk about health, it's always mind, body, spirit. It's
Hmm.
always not just physical. So that's how I see it. And so I don't even call it magic anymore. I don't really
Right.
even call it, you know what I mean? It's quantum
Hmm.
physics, it's consciousness, it's all those
Hmm.
things that are becoming a little bit more mainstream than they
Yes.
used to be.
Hmm.
So yes, I do think it needs to appeal to those other bodies, for sure. So yeah, Annette, anybody, I'd love to talk to you, for sure. I'm in Butler County too. So,
Can you
but
share
thank you.
can you share that the name of the woman like that you just did her force bathing here locally?
Sure. Yeah. Her name was Lori Young, and she used to work at the Audubon place right on the trail. Um, and she's really sweet. I mean, she's an like I said, she is totally into birds. I'm not into birds, but uh,
Okay, yeah, I
uh,
just have to look her up. That sounds cool.
yeah, check her out. I think it's Forest Therapy Lori Young. Just Google it, and she'll come up.
Okay, thank you.
Aha, you're welcome.
And that would be magical to learn about the different birds and things. I'll call it I'm just using the word magic a lot today.
Yeah.
I don't want any of you to think, though, that you have to become an expert on all of these things in order for you to lead a session, right? So,
And that's a good point because that's what holds me back a lot.
yeah.
I'm
And
like,
I was
I'm
afraid of
around people,
that.
just even the trees, that's new to me.
And you
Yeah,
don't have to know what they are.
right.
It's not up for us to be leading people on a naturalist walk and explaining. But in general, of course, you might inspire people about stories of how the trees are communicating with each other underneath the ground, or how there are many, many creatures that might live in a tree and let's watch for them, right? So we don't have to know what they all are. We just can inspire people to observe. So don't let it hold you back, Tina.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Oh, Carolyn, how are you doing with things?
It's
There you go.
here. Oh, here I am. I am woefully behind on my homework and looking forward to June so that I can um, sit with lessons and not be as scattered. So I'm a scattered seedling with all the things going on. And and it's exciting to be a scattered seedling because of like the work transition into intentional retirement. I'm in literally inventing myself every day, and it's so amazing to be part of this. So I just I want it to flow. I don't want to keep pushing at things because I've been pushing at things for 8 years.
Mhm.
So it's exciting, and then the discipline of timing.
Mhm.
So I'm looking forward to that. So the things that with this homework, um, looking at I think it was D that was talking about like the four directions. And I was thinking more of seasons and hours in a day, but you
Mhm.
call them golden hour or
Mhm.
the blue hour. And um, who would be at those kind of sessions, and how would you frame them, and how long would they be? Because blue hour in um, autumn and winter is long. It's long, long, long. It can be almost an hour and a half
Mhm.
in the inland Pacific Northwest. So using like the lighting as part of the experience,
Mhm.
and then with Tina talking about body, mind, spirit, my background is registered nurse, and first um, one of the first like big huge nursing techs for cardiovascular nursing, so our hearts, right, and then our energetic hearts, was a body mind spirit based scientific nursing course. And I love that the thread is still there
Yes.
43 years later. So thank you. And I think that through those decades, and we've talked about taking elders and people who are nature starved, who have stories from their past, integrating some of that somehow. But so with something with light, and then the the timing of the day,
Mhm.
and then the amount of time, depending on people's ability or alternative capabilities, will I can just feel that that's going to be part of the exciting portion, and then integrating some essential oils. So having an offering, and I know people kind of said I went crazy with cute little booklets and all sorts of things. So that's inspiring, but also not to go so crazy that you're giving your service away. So I've got so many scattered ideas, and some cute photos that I've been taking. So I'll get those posted. I haven't yet on the group. But it is absolutely exciting to have been part of the live. I've taken so it's like the energy of the gifts of all of you, and just kind of like holding that and going, oh my goodness, it's true, it's magic, and there's people that are places holding the energy of it. So I'm so excited.
Well, I'm excited too. And here's the thing, there is no deadline for getting everything done. So I love the idea of doing the perfect timing and as it flows, because I want you to enjoy the process and not feel like it's a have to, but I want to.
Yeah, and that's where it's like going in and out of the lessons, and doing the walks, but knowing that I love being in nature, it's like looking forward to the design of your program,
Mm-hmm.
and having that sequence, because sequence is comforting, and sequence can be safety, and it can be that way for like Tina's 60 plus women. It's like we're a worried bunch. and don't like to admit it because there's so much strength through all the decades of change and experience that we've had. So again, light can hardly wait. So super hope to reconnect with everybody.
Well, so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Even while you're on a little mini vacation. So glad you're here.
Well, this is gonna like I'm doing a Spring Forest Qigong healers retreat starting tomorrow. And he just added an hour and a half onto it. It was like a 9 to 5 with an hour and a half lunch and half-hour breaks between hour and a half sessions. So time to ease and refresh and rehydrate. But he just added a 7:30 to 9 breakfast and then also a qigong master meditation. So some of the other people that are at master level are going to be there. So it's like it's going to be a lot of intense, but it's spring and it's forest. And
Yes.
it's both happening. So yeah.
It will be a lot, but it will also be wonderful. So I'm happy that you're doing that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's crazy intense for somebody who's used to day conferences. So yeah, so thank you again. And it's yeah, it's exciting. This must be part of all the flow stuff. So yeah.
I love it. Annette, update us all on everything you've been doing. Oh, wait, you're muted.
Well, I wrote up a whole forest bathing thing, the next set of sequence, and I took my husband on it just to try everything out on him. And he really loved it. Really, really loved it. And he has a hard time relaxing. Like he's constantly like he can't relax ever. And so when we came home, he was just like, I just can't believe how like relaxed I am. Like it just really affected him. He was surprised. I think he was skeptical, but he really enjoyed it. And I wanted to show you guys, like I went to Adams Park, which is like a local park here. It's not far. And I scoped it out and it's different now that things are growing in and there's like privet taken over where the trees were that weren't there. And so you couldn't get to the trees. And there was like there was this one really big tree and then all the grass was high and and I was like, not going in high grass because ticks around here. So like we just changed and there's this really, really nice section where you go off the trail and the trees just kind of like make an opening and it was like the perfect threshold. And it was really lovely. Oh, we saw as soon as we came through like the threshold and it opened up, there was a deer. She was looking at us and we were just like, oh, normally they run away. And she was just like, it was really weird because she was just looking at us and then she was like walking towards us and then she kind of like slowly walked away. And then like these two babies popped up, like newborns, like newborns that could hardly walk. And we're like, oh, no, come back. And we like, didn't want to interfere because like these babies, like you could see them because it was tall grass and you could see them moving into the grass. And then the one came out like into the pathway area and it was literally like his knees were knocking, like you could tell it was like a newborn. It was just like this tiny little baby. And so like we actually didn't go back there because we didn't want to interrupt that. So we went back out through the threshold and onto the trail. We went back into another section, which is fine because there was actually more trees over there. Um and it was really nice. And but it's busy. It's a busy park. So I might just keep looking. I might keep looking. But I got this little tiny tongue drum.
Yeah.
And I was playing when we were doing the earthing and the journaling, I was playing and he was like, that I loved that. That was so nice. It was just so relaxing. And so I just wanted to show you that. Like it's like a little tiny one. This is, I think, a 6-inch. but it just is so pretty, you know, and I think that the trees and everybody, the animals, they all really liked it.
Mm-hmm. It is a
And
wonderful way, like in terms of like giving back to nature.
yeah,
It was like you were giving music to them. Yes.
yeah, it's like reciprocity, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's important. And
Mm-hmm.
I did go through, I brought tea and we sat and um I bought these like little tiny ceramic teacups and I made tea. Like I had a thermos that I took with tea and we had some tea and I did the whole thing with them, man. And it's the only thing I didn't do was I made bubbles, my own bubble solution. And um, I think that that would be good for like a kid's thing, but like to blow intentions and gratitude through the
Mm-hmm.
bubbles into the area. I think that would be kind of a cool thing, but that's not, he's not a good audience for that. But it really worked out really well. I mean, like there was like a couple things that we had to change. We went over here and, you know, next time, like literally going the day before and seeing what the grass looks like and seeing everything like that. So I'm a little more prepared. But
Mm-hmm.
also, he's like, why don't you just do them in our yard? Because we have acres here and we don't have grass. We've replaced our grass with native gardens. And
Mm-hmm.
so we just have pathways and trees and seating areas and could just do it here. I don't
You
know.
could do it there.
Yeah, Tina, you want to come over? I mean, I'm in Adams Township. We can do one here.
I totally want to come over. Yes, yes, we'll connect
Yeah, okay.
for sure. Yes.
There
Yeah,
is there is a lot of power to be said to do it on your own property because you are in control of who's there. You're in
yeah,
control of what's going on. Even if the neighbors are making noise or something, there's you know the routines. You know what happens on your space. You know where the wasp nest is, right?
mhm,
You know those things.
yeah,
So I think that's a very valid way to do it. The challenge is having strangers on your property.
yeah. But I mean, I have my clients come here. I have my
Right,
spa room in my house, so I have strangers coming here all the time, which I
right.
don't love, but yeah, I mean, they're for sound healing, so they can't be all that bad, kind of a thing.
Right,
That's how I look at it, right? They
right.
wouldn't come for sound healing if that they weren't kind of like-minded.
Hmm.
And I got this card deck from I think I got on. Have you ever seen this card deck? It's
No,
Lisa
I have not
Kennedy.
seen that one. That looks fun.
So it's it's a deck of 52 invitations.
Wonderful.
So there's 52. So whatever you like pull, and then on the back, it walks you through the invitation.
Hmm.
It's really kind of a lot of this you've already talked about, really a lot of it. But there are some in here that are kind of interesting. But even like how they like the way they describe you can if you have a group and I was thinking with Tina and Kelly because we're both all right here and you even you LuAnn where you get together and then you each pick a card and you go off and you do your thing and then you come back and talk about what you did on
Hmm.
your invitation something like that you could do whatever you want with them but it was just I just wanted to
That's
share
cool.
that resource with you.
Yeah, I'm probably
It's
gonna have to
called
order that. Yep.
Forest Bathing. It's Kelly, Lisa Kennedy and Roxanne Cote, and I got it on it was on Amazon. They're not super thick like it's nice. It's a nice deck.
Mhm. I will tell you how I mean, I love your idea of, pulling things and letting people pull things. I would probably love using that as I worked on designing a session.
Yeah, that's what I used. That's where yeah,
Is
I don't know why.
look through and I might randomly say what would be the best thing for this group at this time at this day and pull, but I would probably um, I have a deck similar to that when I teach yoga class, and so I will know what my theme is for my yoga class, and I'll look at all the cards and I'll pull the ones, and then I'll put them in the order, and then that's what I'll take with me, and they're like my little cheat sheet.
Oh,
Right.
nice.
And so you
Yeah,
could just pull the invitations that you've chosen to do for this session, and it's your cheat sheet, right? Then you just have them there with you.
that's a good idea.
Hmm.
It was too good with going out with him too because I timed stuff
Hmm.
to say how far, walking, this, that,
Mhm.
what did 20 minutes feel like doing the earthing, which just flew. I mean, that part flew. He was
Mhm.
journaling and um yeah, that was really, and I was playing my drum and we were drinking tea and
Mhm.
the sit stop, spot
Mhm.
kind. That was really nice and yeah,
I love it.
yeah, it's good.
Yay. Thanks, Annette. Keep doing what you're doing because you're doing great stuff. And,
Yeah.
you're a busy person with all of these weekend events that you do, and
Oh yeah.
you're
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I wanted to also, for just local people here, I know there's just a few of us. Wild Ones, which is a nonprofit, we have a local group, what Southwestern Pennsylvania. It's part of a national, and we connect people to native plants through education. And we are having a huge plant sale, native plant sale on June 7th at Allegheny Riverfront Trail. If anyone, Tina, LuAnn, if you're looking for native plants. It's like a festival. There's like 40 vendors and they're all plant related vendors. And there's a guy there that comes and he makes his own birdhouses with all these found projects, found items that he does. And so like his birdhouses are amazing. He sells them out. And it's just a fun day. There's a band that plays folk music and there's food trucks. So if you're looking for plants, I'm
Well,
just plugging my plant sale.
yeah, well, do you have it out on your page? And I will share the link to it
Yes.
because I
Yeah,
know a
yeah,
bunch
yeah.
of people who would be interested.
I'll post it again on my page because
Okay.
I have that peace festival that I just did yesterday on there. So
Hmm.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Ruth, one of our tall oaks.
What does that mean? Um, I've been working on doing some planning, some programs. Um, Still not sure where I'm going to implement them, but I think I might just do some things online.
Hmm.
Um, I've been hesitating about that for, as you know, long time. I like learning and classwork and stuff. I think is fine. I just have trouble figuring out how to do like a forest therapy program online. That seems challenging to me, but that may be what I'm kind of looking at, ways to incorporate that into something else, maybe. Don't know.
So here's a wild and crazy thought for you. Plan it so that it's on Zoom and people are taking their phones and they're doing Zoom on their phone, and then you are just stepping them through their own experience in their own yard or a place where they're comfortable in nature.
Yeah, that's the only way. Yeah, I think I can do it. I had thought of me just doing it and them just sitting there following along, but that's really not what forest therapy is about. So,
It would give them a sense of it, but I'm not sure that that would be
no,
as joyful for you to see them what they're experiencing.
yeah. And I want them to experience it firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
We, there's so much screen time anyway that uh, I guess that's why I keep holding out for in person,
Mm-hmm.
doing things in person. But yeah, just a few things in the works. But I love listening to everybody's ideas and experiences so far, and just gives me ideas or brings back memories of things I've done in the past too. So
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
really encouraging.
Well, as you're all getting ready to step into being that practitioner and looking at how to lead others out there, as you go through the homework, you learn all those little things about, oh, I should check the place the day before and see how high the grass is and notice if the wasps have built a nest there. Like you want to check those things out. And you'll learn that as you're going through these practice sessions, these homework sessions. But then as you step into offering these to other people, you want to think about those things like having them fill out a form ahead of time so that you know, like their emergency contact information, like just all those non-magical bits, right? Like, do people have any medical condition that you need to be aware of? Are they able to walk a quarter mile? Will they be able to sit on the ground, right? You can design your contact form and information form however you want, but um, let's say that you think you've scoped out a perfect place and people are going to um, walk down this little slope and be in the woods and sit on a log. And then you have somebody that's like can't walk on unstable ground and isn't able to sit on anything that doesn't have arms on it that they can push themselves up, right? Then you don't want to have to figure that out at that time. You want that information ahead of time as much as possible so that you can be inclusive about whatever happens. It's not to limit people. It's that if your session is planned around people who have the same abilities as you and somebody else shows up, you don't want to have to be scrambling at the last moment, I guess is what I want to say. You also want to have, a waiver that they sign that says that they are partaking of this of their own choice and that anything that happens, they're not holding you liable for it. You're going to do the best you can to make sure everybody's safe, but if somebody falls and breaks their leg, you don't want it to be on you, right? You want it that they participated in this on their own. So those are some things you might want to think about. You can look for samples of forms online. I'm pretty sure in the appendix, I might have a registration. Yeah, I have a little form with fine print there that says the kinds of things that you might want to, and I think it's in the appendix. Pretty sure it is. If it's not in the, let me know if it's not. Um, but it also has a little form about client registration information that asks those questions, even questions about allergies, because if you have somebody that has an allergy to bees, you want to know that. If somebody's allergic to oak trees, you want to know that. So you just gather all of that information as a part of making sure that you design your session where you are and you just are aware of those kinds of things. Okay. Um, Tina had mentioned about how there, was a larger group and then there was a smaller group. You can think about how you might offer forest bathing, forest therapy sessions as a one-on-one service, right? Like Annette, how you do your healing services now. There's no reason why you couldn't do one-on-one forest bathing. Okay, so in that way, it's very customized, it's very personal, and it can, and Tina, the same for you. As you're a coach, right? You can think about how that one-on-one session can be in a forest that setting, and you send them on these invitations. They come back with their own answers, and you're just coaching them through what did they discover? What does that mean to them? So don't always think you have to have a big group. Is it a little bit more intense one-on-one? Yeah, but you should be charging more for a private personal session, just like you would charge for a one-on-one healing session, right? So it doesn't always have to be a big group. It can be working one-on-one with people, which can be very fulfilling, right? To give permission to somebody to spend that time in what some people might call doing nothing, right? But they are not doing nothing. They are bathing in the waves of the forest. So if that sounds like that's more doable, then think about how you might design some sessions that are just one-on-one. And that you got that experience with your husband, right? It was a one-person experience, and he got a lot of value from it. So think about who your perfect clients are, right? Are they going to be the people who want the magic dial turned up, right? And then you might make it very magical sessions. You might time it around the time of the full moon. You might time it in the evening at the setting sun and the moonrise, and have that be a piece of the energy that happens in the class, where you might have people write on papers of what they want to release and then set those papers free. It might be not papers, it might be leaves. You might have them write on Sharpie on leaves what they want to release, and then let it go in the wind or let it go in a stream, right? You can craft these around that timing if you're into the magic. And let's say your target audience is, you want to target overworked executives who aren't that much into the magic. Well, you dial the magic down, right? You can do one-on-one forest therapy sessions with people who haven't been in nature that often anymore. And it doesn't mean that you would neglect the magic part, but it might be couched much more around use your imagination, right? So all of those are ways that you can take this information, take this structure, and work with the population that you think are the people that you would like to serve. It's always my pleasure to inspire people to be forest bathing practitioners. And whether you go out and lead people or whether you just use it for yourself, but inspire people to honor nature, inspire people to see nature as their brothers and sisters and not something to just be used. Even in the forest bathing world, I hear that we're using the forest to heal us. I don't ever want us to use nature. I want us to enjoy nature, to be with nature, and to allow the vibrations of nature, the sun, the air, the earth, the colors, the sound, to realign our body back to a healthy and vibrant setting. And in return, we can give back to nature in whatever way we can. So, my beautiful seedling sprouts and tall oaks, I have enjoyed this time with you. We will stay in touch in our email group, our Facebook group, and I look forward for those of you getting your certification to send me your experiences, and I look forward to when we connect again. I love you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. Go hug a tree.